How's it going, guys? You're watching ITX SE, and today we're going to be doing a review and disassembly of the Thermaltake Tower 100 case. Okay, so this case was kindly loaned to me by a good friend of mine who actually owns the Tower 900, and he's got a really sweet build in that. And to be fair, he actually came away from PC building and PCs in general until this was released. And yeah, the moment I told him about this, he pretty much had it purchased within about 5 minutes. So you find a lot of people have a sweet spot for these. Like the Tower 900 is an absolute showcaseable build, so you can build pretty much whatever you want inside there and have all the freedom and space to execute pretty much any idea. The Tower 100 obviously replicates very much the same look as the Tower 900, but the footprint is far smaller. Obviously, with it being an ITX case, that will restrict you quite a bit to do anything super extravagant, but I do think with patience, time and a bit of ingenuity, you could turn this into a really cool PC. So before we disassemble it, I'm just going to give you a quick show around the case. So on the front, Thermaltake logo behind the tapered glass. The glass is slightly smoked, so obviously it's not going to be fully transparent, but I actually think that looks quite nice. Same as the Tower 900, that was exactly the same. So we've got the side of the case and the back of the case. Obviously we've got an exhaust vent on there. There's a filter down the bottom there. Got another exhaust through the bottom for your PSU. The other side. And that is the top. So disassembly, pretty simple. Just a Phillips screwdriver is all you need. As the side panels, they will not come off without removing this top shroud. So with the way that these are designed, the I/O is completely at the top. So your HDMI lead, or display port, whatever it is you're using, Ethernet cable, all goes in the top of the case, so it plugs them through. There is a place where you can route that through the back. But obviously to get into that is relatively simple with the pop filter that comes straight off. At first glance, as you can see, we've got a 120mm fan at the top there that comes with the case, and that's exhausting air. We've got a few little goodies, some blanking plates, which I'll show you what they're for later in the video. And here we've got a speaker, cable ties, and some fixing screws, which I would assume would be, well, to house the motherboard, and there's some long ones in there which might be for the fan, but I'm not quite sure on that. But the speaker's quite a nice touch, very old school, and a user manual. So in the top, like I said, it's not 4 screws, it's 5 screws. We've got literally 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we'll get those out and that will get the ball rolling. Okay, so as I said, the top will literally pull straight off. Or almost, if you get all the screws out properly. There we go, so that just pops off like so. Now the front panel and the side panels, they come off in the same way. You've got to be careful because it is tapered glass. So with a nice grip, pull up, pull away, job done. So that's the front panel. The side panel is very much the same. Pull up and away. Like so. So if we have a look at the inside of the case, as you can see, you've got all your I/O cables, USB 3.0, and there's some SATA cables in there as well, which is quite cool. The form factor of this, obviously, like I said, is the motherboard will be mounted differently to traditional, as normally your I/O ports are this side, whereas on this case they are aimed towards the top. So that means when you install your graphics card, it will come down the side of the case, which is pretty cool. It looks different, but there is a few drawbacks to that, especially with this day and age. So obviously if you're planning on buying a case this size and you are going down the 30 series route, obviously the corners on those are huge, which I do believe, looking at this, they will fit. But when it comes down to actually letting the card breathe to keep it cool, that might be challenging. So do bear that in mind with a case like this. I personally do not think it is built for out of the box coolers. If you're going to put a 30 series card in here, I would strongly suggest looking at your options of water cooling. But obviously, again, it will make the build far trickier as there is far less space. So to work out where so you're going to route your pump and your rad and everything else, that's going to be the fun part, I assume. But yeah, definitely not user friendly if you're looking to actually get good cooling out of the box. So the back panel literally comes straight off. The thumb screws on this one will actually stick to the panel, which is good, so you've got less chance of losing those. This as well, the fan filter is magnetic, so obviously if you want to improve the airflow slightly, you can just literally take that on and off as you like, no problem at all. We'll leave it on for now as it's not my case, and I know my friend will have an absolute meltdown if I lose anything. So case comes straight off, and yet again you've got another Thermaltake 120mm fan that is exhausting air. And just below there, this is where the power supply will go. This will take a full size ITX power supply, which is quite cool, especially for a case of this size. As most people, if you're migrating from another build that you've disassembled, the chances are you've got a full size ATX. Providing you're not putting a 1600 watt beast in it, most power supplies will fit in here. Space wise, there is not a lot of space. So this is what I'm saying. Obviously, if you're going down 30 series cards and you want to keep them realistically cool, water cooling is pretty much your only option for maximum efficiency. But like I said, trying to work out where you're going to put pumps and reses and rads will be challenging. I do think it can be done, I do, but I don't know how much you'd have to destroy the case to actually make it work. But this is what I like about these cases. Like even with the Tower 900, the flexibility of it was far easier than working on something like this, but you can just make them so custom, and obviously it's still very much based around a bit of a showcasey build. As obviously you've got the front panel that's glass, side panels that are glass, and all your nice pretty expensive components are on show. The bottom grills here, just for ease of use, I assume this is where they come out, they're on their own thumb screws, and these very simply slide down and then out, and then yet again another thumb screw. Same on the other side. So much more scary when you're working on other people's stuff, because if you scratch it, well, you'd have to replace it. So very modular and very easy to work on, because obviously when you've got it in a state like this, it's going to give you a very nice, easy, doable work base to begin with. But that being said, obviously it is ITX, so it's going to be a fiddly build regardless. Would I recommend a case like this? Absolutely. If you're looking for a small case that looks really cool and can show off all your components and you like to get quite custom, I think this is a perfect case. If you are looking for something fairly simple out of the box that's going to be beneficial for your components, especially if you're on the newer stuff like the RTX 3080s or 3090s, the coolers are so much bigger. Like I said, you are going to struggle to keep them cool in a case like this. It's not so much that the airflow of the case is a problem, it's just obviously the form factor is so much smaller. You're just not going to be drawing in enough air on the sides to efficiently keep them cool. So just bear that in mind. For that reason, I wouldn't recommend it to a beginner builder that just wants out of the box stuff and just to put it together. But if you're a bit more experienced and you're going to put in the time to playing around with it and seeing if you can fit in, you know, even an AIO or, you know, custom loop, then this would definitely be a fun case to work with. So yeah, pretty much it. On the bottom as well, we've got another fan. Well, there's no fan on there. This will be where your PSU goes, and obviously the fan will be aimed down to exhaust that. So like I said, airflow is good, but it's just obviously you have to bear in mind it's a small case, so you will have some problems there. But nothing that can't be overcome with enough patience and time. But yeah. If you like the look of this build, because I have been toying with the idea of building an ITX for a little while, just because I think they look really neat, and I kind of want the challenge of doing a custom loop in something like this. So if you like the idea of that, please let me know down below in the comments, as I would either go for something like this, or if you've got an alternative option of ITX that you'd like to see built, put it down in the comments. I'll definitely take a look, as I do think this is something I want to do in a future video. as I do like a challenge, and this is definitely one that is going to get me there. Before we end the video, I better just show you what these blanking plates do. So if you do not plan to use a graphics card, or if you've got a very, very small graphics card, obviously this space down the bottom will look quite ugly. So it comes with plates where you can literally blank them off like so, and you won't see that gaping big hole in the bottom. I think most people these days are going to be running a GPU, but you still got the APUs out there. So, you know, if you're an APU, fair play, props. That's what they're for. So, once again, thank you very much for watching another video. In the next one, I'm going to be hoping to do the MORA3 radiator. I don't know how many times I've said that now throughout my videos. I'm sure people are getting sick of it. But I've got everything I need now to assemble that, and then we'll be wall mounting that just there. So, if you want to see that, please do subscribe, like the video, and yeah, turn on your notifications, and we'll be seeing you soon. So thanks very much. Do appreciate you watching. We'll see you again.